Welcome back. 10 years ago, I wrote a blog post about the concept of the full Stack Overflow developer, which means developers that basically copy and paste things from Stack Overflow, change some numbers around, and hope things don't break. Also called developers. We also realized that the developers that are getting higher up in the ranks, like a senior developer, knows that the third result of Stack Overflow is probably the best one, not the first one. So that's how we gamed that system. And over the last few years, we got more things coming in, and now the big thing is code generators with AI, and a lot of them have been trained on Stack Overflow data. A lot of them have also been trained on open source data on GitHub, and we actually see that there is the looking things up and getting an information piece is not as exciting as talking 15 minutes to a machine and get the same information. So today we're going to talk about what Stack Overflow is doing in the world of community and AI. And Prashant Chandrasekhar, I managed to more or less do that, the CEO of Stack Overflow is here to talk all about that. He told me he's got 90 slides, so I'm going to cut that down really quickly. And he's basically saying like that Stack Overflow has become an integral part how to learn code. And we want to make that more interactive, more challenging, and more interesting for you. So let's hear what Stack Overflow has to do right now with AI, maybe code completion, I don't know. Let's see what's coming next. Chandra, Prashant,
Wow, wonderful to be here in Berlin to talk about community, AI, and Stack Overflow's vision for the future. And we've got some really, really exciting product announcements for you. What better place to do that than here at WeAreDevelopers? So thank you. So to start out, I wanted to make sure I thanked all of you. Thanked you, our developer community, for building something absolutely incredible together. Over the past 15 years, we have built what is one of the most accurate, high-quality, pure, curated knowledge bases in the world. All of this because of the volunteerism of our developer community looking to help each other out all around the world. Millions of developers have spent their time to contribute to now 58 million questions and answers on every possible technology topic. All of that information has been accessed over 51 billion times since our founding in 2008 by our wonderful founders. So thank you again, and what an impact. I also wanted to share that our employees, or as we affectionately call them, stackers, are really, really focused on serving you. You are our mission. We come to work every day. People work at Stack Overflow. I work at Stack Overflow to serve you. And it's wonderful to see developers helping each other out in the ecosystem. It so gives us a sense of purpose when we actually see developers make their way from being a student to a young professional to even a senior technology person at a startup or a company, all enabled behind the scenes by Stack Overflow. So it gives us a lot of gratitude. And I'm here to tell you that in the era that we're about to enter into, the AI era, which is going to be one of the most transformative platform shifts of our generation, and we're lucky to live it, that you will continue to be the focus at Stack Overflow. 100%, we are here to serve you, to fight on your behalf, to make sure you're recognized for the work that you're doing, and that you're able to responsibly harness the power of AI for your needs to be the best developers that you can be. And all of this is obviously centered around our collective community and knowledge. That is irreplaceable. So there's a lot written about this era, right? The AI era, what's going to be the future, what's going to happen to developers, a lot of doomsdayers out there. So I wanted to sort of set the record straight from our standpoint. What does it mean for all of us as developers? So we have the benefit over the past 15 years of observing a lot on the platform. We know exactly how software has evolved, the concept of abstraction, where it's actually gotten easier to write code over time as people have had access, not only to resources like Stack Overflow, but as innovations have happened through languages and packages and libraries, and it's gotten easier to write code, we have noticed that a kind of very peculiar phenomenon. the number of developers have actually increased quite dramatically. And if you think about the few eras that we've just lived through, the 2000 era was all about outsourcing. There was a lot of doomsdayers back then saying, all the developer jobs are going to go away. Back in the 2010s, when it was automate all the things, we remember that. Even then, there was a lot of doomsdayers. The number of developers kept going up. And we really expect the number of developers to go up even more exponentially in these coming years. So if I'm a developer, I'm thrilled about this, because it really means a lot of opportunity for all of us. And what is the root cause? The root cause is, especially for this upcoming phase, the power of AI is going to really drive a tremendous amount of transformation within companies, large companies, existing companies, incumbents looking to re-innovate, be closer to their customers, iterate on product, and deliver that very quickly. For startups that are getting funded, many of you are in the wonderful city of Berlin here, phenomenal startup ecosystem. We expect that to explode in a really good way, in a positive way. And all of that is going to create a surge in the number of developers that are going to be needed for this work. So, by asking the future of software developers, it's only obvious to ask the future of Stack Overflow in an AI world. And to answer this question, we asked you. Every year, we conduct a survey, our Stack Overflow developer survey. This year, 90,000 of you responded. One of our most popular surveys in terms of response rate. And we zoned in on a very specific set of questions around AI, this era that we're about to enter into or have entered into. And 70% of you said that you were either using AI-assisted tools or you are planning on using AI-assisted tools. Why? Because it obviously drives productivity, efficiency, opportunities to learn, all the things that we care about as developers. But also 42% of you said that accuracy was a big question. We're a skeptical bunch as developers, right? We want to make sure that we are using the best tool for the job to get the job done correctly. We do not want to run production-level applications with a lot of risk. So this gave us a lot of insight on what to focus on. And after thinking about it, we basically came up with the following. We said that the power of AI is very obvious. Summarizations, aggregations, discovery and search through semantic search, comparisons, etc. Community has some amazing attributes that we've been very close to. Creation of new knowledge, validation, interpretation, connecting the dots. But Stack Overflow in the middle has this very unique opportunity to focus on some key aspects and attributes. So trust. Why don't we focus on making sure that you as developers can trust what you're getting out of these amazing tools that are being developed and innovated on? Why don't we make sure that you have attribution and citations to the answers coming out of these things that are not just black boxes, that you can actually say, OK, I can trust this answer. Making sure that it's accurate, considering our commitment to quality on Stack Overflow for the past 15 years. We've taken a lot of painstaking efforts to make sure the information is always right. It's the most accurate data set. Personalization, the fact that you've spent so much time on the site to make sure you're getting it exactly based on your own, your current sort of mindset. Providing feedback into the system, and of course, giving all of you recognition for the work that you're actually putting into versus information just being taken away without real credit for the folks who are contributing. So that is what we have thought about, which have really then led to our principles around how we think about the products that we're building around the AI space. So firstly, it's about making sure that we give you back time to make sure that you're more efficient, to make sure that you can actually focus on the things that you love doing, which is innovating. Secondly, it's about, again, accuracy being highly fundamental to you and your work. Thirdly, it's about making sure that we welcome developers of all ranges, the expert programmers, but also the beginners who are starting. And as I mentioned, there's going to be a lot of them entering into this space from around the world. And finally, making sure that the humans and developers are the center of what we do. Again, we're here to serve you as developers. We've also been observing the challenges that you've been facing across your work. And all these challenges, which I won't go through each one, we have a very unique vantage point about understanding these challenges, around problem solving and innovating and onboarding to new companies, because we have this really great view of the public platform, where we have, again, 58 million questions and answers and millions of developers showing up on Stack Overflow every week. And we also have our Stack Overflow for Teams product that's used now by 15,000 organizations within their companies, which is a private version of Stack Overflow to share and collaborate knowledge. So both these products, our public platform that almost all of you have used, and our Stack Overflow for Teams product, gives us a tremendous amount of insight on your problems and how we can actually help you with your problems. So with all that context, I'm very, very pleased to share that we are announcing today at WeAreDevelopers the launch of Overflow AI. So I cannot go past this slide until I actually recognize our amazing group of stackers who have been hard at work over the past 3 months, really in the spirit of building something amazing for you as developers to use on a daily basis. So my heartfelt thanks goes out to my team and our team, and there are many ways your team, because we're really sort of working for you in many ways. Now, what is Overflow AI? Overflow AI is going to be made up of, we're going to talk about 6 announcements today. We've actually been working on about 12 different things, and some of those I'm not going to be able to cover today, but we're definitely going to talk about 6, and I'm going to go through each one. So you may get some clues already, but let's go through each one. So the first one is around search, finding information in a very, very compelling way quickly on Stack Overflow, especially when you're looking to trust that answer. So you can recognize this. You start with the search bar, and you're also sort of making sure that you can ask in this new world, asking a regular question, which could be a natural language question. And what we've actually enabled here is you're going to get the traditional search results that you typically get on Stack Overflow. But it's not only going to do that, but it's going to give you a summarized version of that through generative AI. Generative AI does the work to sort of piece this together. And it's also going to make sure that it gives you the citations and the questions and answers where this was actually generated from. So what this allows you to do is really trust that the generative AI answer that came out of your search question, or your question, is really rooted in truth based on the experts around the world that have contributed to it. You can obviously provide feedback. That's part of the system with generative AI models. That's very important to train the model. But you can also continue the conversation as you get more sort of personalized around it. It's going to take all the context that you sort of provided, and you're able to have a natural language interaction with the model. What that's going to result is effectively it's going to build on that original question and all your follow-up questions. It's going to generate another summarized solution or multiple solutions in this case. And as you build that, you can even get more specific. You can actually add a piece of code inside this in a way that actually gives it even more context and makes it even personal to you and what you've tried so far. And then at this point, this question obviously is highly personalized, and you're able to get to an answer that either works or doesn't work for you. And it's possible that AI hits sort of this complexity cliff that we all have read about. And at that point, if it's able to give you kind of a somewhat accurate answer, but not complete, then you can continue to obviously do what you've done on Stack Overflow. You can ask your fellow community members. And this process allows you to really very quickly draft a question. It's going to automatically create a question for you, prompt it, so you're able to sort of get past all the friction, and you're able to post it into the community. So all of this that I just talked about is going to be available in alpha, limited alpha here in August. Super excited for you to try it. And also the the chat capability I explained is coming soon as a fast follow. We want to make sure it was as high quality as you expect from Stack Overflow. That's number 1. Number 2, making sure that you're not context switching. A lot of us who are developers spend time in our integrated development environment. So we will be bringing Stack Overflow into your IDE. So for the first time ever, and we're focusing on Visual Studio Code, because it's, I think 70% of you said that that was your favorite IDE. We'll consider other ones over time. And the idea here is, as you have, this should be very familiar to you, you should be able to go into your Visual Studio Code and have effectively the ability to ask questions, and again, in natural language. In this case, let's start with a simple question. It's your first day at work. You just want to know the basics. And then effectively, the AI goes out to Stack Overflow for Teams, in this example, within your company, searches for the answer. You get a summarized answer immediately. And also, it tags the specific, in this case, article in Stack Overflow for Teams as the source of some of that, where that came from. You can also do the same thing with public Stack Overflow, where you can ask a similar question, and it basically returns from the 58 million questions and answers references from our public data set, and that allows you to sort of really, again, feel confident about the answer that's coming through. So this, we believe, is a very powerful tool for you to be able to keep doing your work. And of course, there's feedback. As usual, generative AI models need that feedback to keep training and improving. And ultimately, you can also provide very specific kinds of feedback that allows you to sort of train. One other capability to show you here is you may sometimes need a little bit more context, but it's actually not worthwhile asking your fellow teammates at your company or asking the community in the public sense. And let's say that you had a piece of code, you wanted to really get an explanation for the code, and you're able to then do that through this mechanism now. You'll get back sort of a short summary of what you were trying to find out, or get an explanation for, and you're also going to get references from, again, our data set on where this explanation really was rooted in, right? So this is a really, really powerful way for you, again, for you to trust and attribute answers from the public community and within Stack Overflow for Teams. And if you think, by the way, that this was helpful, you can create a Q&A, or you can create an article. In this case, it's going to suggest tags automatically, and you can post it into Stack Overflow for Teams or public Stack Overflow. So that's a really, really powerful, in our minds, a powerful way to complete the workflow. And all of this is also launching in alpha in August. And again, we'd love for you to try it. All right, on to number 3. So speaking of keeping you in your context, we want to make sure that we know that you spend a lot of time on Slack or Microsoft Teams. In this case, we are bringing Overflow AI into Slack. What does that mean? It means, again, you're bringing natural language capabilities, you're bringing generative AI capabilities into your Slack integration. Let's say in this example, you're part of a new cloud team, and you're just trying to get up to speed. You open up Slack, you ask some foundational question about Google Cloud Technologies, one of our partners, and you're able to make sure that the AI goes out and searches for all the right content out in the internet, the public Stack Overflow, and then you want to learn a little bit more. Kubernetes, very basic set of questions here, just for simplicity's sake, and then you ask it for more information, and it's able to give you a further explanation on that topic. And again, there's the element of feedback, et cetera, here, as we talked about. You can also here get questions from within Stack Overflow for Teams within your organization. And again, you can see it's going to cite the questions and answers or articles within Stack Overflow that were part of why this answer was generated in the flow of your work. So all of this, again, is going to be available in limited alpha in the month of August. And we'd love, again, for you to try it. Next, moving to a couple more enterprise-centric use cases. So when people get started with Stack Overflow within companies, they want to kickstart the community within their organization, the knowledge creation process. And there's typically sometimes a cold start problem in that scenario, where you need people to sort of come around and effectively start to get it going. But we wanted to accelerate all that and really have a steroid shot in the system, so to speak. And in this case, let's say that you're creating a brand new Stack Overflow instance, and you want to make sure that rather than having people manually start and seed this content or seed the knowledge base with information manually, you just wanted to get going very, very quickly. So you click on this button to import content. You're able to look at existing document repositories within your company, like Confluence or GitHub or Google Drive or ServiceNow. And we've gotten a lot of other requests from our early customers and users. And all those folks all these sources will then generate automatically a Q&A pair. This is not, by the way, not just importing all the documents from those other places. It's literally creating Q&A or articles based on the guidelines that we've set out at Stack Overflow. It's automatically going to generate tags and tagging structure, and all of you know sometimes how complicated that can be, and really sort of gets you going very, very quickly. These tag structures can be effectively these clusters that you can effectively configure, what falls under each of these tag clusters. You can customize them, you can save this information, and you can mix and match depending on, and you don't have to do it all up front. You can save all this in your content health area and come back and do it later. And then it sort of creates this nice, curated, recommended questions and answers, and you can effectively select which ones of these you want to pick to be ingested. And this prevents things like garbage in and garbage out, because you can also really fine-tune what information actually gets ingested from those other sources. You can say, you know what, I only want the ones from the past 3 months out of the 500 documents that I just pointed you to in Confluence. Or I only want the ones that were rated the highest, and I do not want sort of lowly rated content. So you have the ability to fine-tune these parameters as you ingest content. So now that you have this foundation, you're in a pretty good place. You've got already an immediate community with subject matter experts, content flowing, and it's really, really powerful for you then to sort of take this, and you can even provide feedback on the quality of what was ingested, so it's constantly learning, again, in the context of generative AI. And it also gives you, by the way, the ability to see, the sources, the original sources that it came from. It tells you whether this has been validated. And so a lot of real sort of trust building and attribution building elements that are baked into this. And of course, the rest of that now, the rest of the power of Stack Overflow for teams comes to life, where you can create sub-communities within your organization, guilds, so to speak, or connectivity. You can see which of your teams are engaging with other people within your organization. And all of this is obviously very powerful. So all of this, again, is going live, or we are launching it in alpha in August. So for our Stack Overflow for Teams customers, they can try this. All right, finally, number 5 in Overflow AI is that we want to focus on search. We really believe search within companies is really broken. It's very, very hard to find accurate information within companies. It's all over the place. And we really wanted to focus on this problem, specifically with enhanced search. I talked about the public platform earlier. This is specific to Stack Overflow for Teams. So the ability here is you start out, again, with the search bar. You're asking a sort of a simple question about Project Zeta in this example. And you know that somebody's asked this question somewhere. The guidelines have been existing, but you just don't know how to find them. So let's start that, right? Immediately, it provides you with this answer. As you can see, it's got citations to content and experts from within the company. You're able to effectively see who the subject matter experts are. In this case, Unji is the expert on these various topics. It also shows you the details behind this Q&A, so you can go deeper and understand this, and that's powerful. You could also customize this in a way that makes sense for you, depending on your level of your understanding or your capability. And you can also pull in additional sources from other locations, other document locations, through connectors that we will automatically connect. So through Confluence and GitHub, and of course, the rest of public Stack Overflow. And then that generates an even more robust answer in search, which is it shows you not only a summarized generative AI answer that is rooted in Stack Overflow Public, Stack Overflow for Teams, but also other document repositories like Confluence and GitHub, which are really also powerful to really bring all the content and write the answer at the right time for you as you solve your problem. And of course, feedback continues to be fundamental to generative AI. We provide the feedback as part of this, and we continue on. So all of this, again, is launching in alpha in August, so super excited for you to try it. All right, one last announcement, and all of this that I just talked through was about Overflow AI, both for the public Stack Overflow as well as Stack Overflow for Teams. One other area that we wanted to make sure that we focused on is we're all learning in this AI world. We're learning about AI literally every day. There's so many announcements, it's hard to keep up, even for us at Stack Overflow. So we wanted to create as many avenues for you in the developer community to learn about the latest and greatest of AI developments. So as of this past week, we've launched two things. One is Generative AI Stack Exchange, which is an area specifically that you can go to today. You can go join it. And it's all about prompt engineering, prompt design. This is obviously going to be fundamental as we think about software development in the future. So we wanted to create a space where you can learn about that subject. So that's already active, and you can join it. The other area on the right side here is what we call a collective or sub-community on Stack Overflow, where we have companies like Microsoft and Google and Amazon, AWS, but we also have topics. In this case, NLP, or natural language processing, and this area has experts from all around the world that can join and you can actually engage with within this collective or sub-community. Now, not only those two things, but we're very, very committed to a very accurate data set, Q&A. We want to make sure that's pristine. But we also noticed, and I was talking to some developers even last night about this, is that there's so much depth in the second answer, the third answer, and the comments, and people have seen so much value out of those over the years. So what we wanted to do is continue to keep our Q&A very pristine, but create an entirely new area for you to have real discussions, open discussions. And this is for the first time ever, we will open it up in a very deliberate way, where you can actually have a conversation with people on Stack Overflow. In this case, it's, as you can see, people are, this example is showing you various examples of how we can, you can have topics on NLP specifically. And this is, based on, let's say, sort of a poll on technical sentiment analysis on this topic, or a request for advice in this last case. And you can decide that when you see somebody asking for an opinion, you can participate in that. You can click into the full discussion, read through the comments, and then you can add in your perspective into that. And you could be, let's say, a novice, or you could be an expert, but you're in the discussion with experts around the world. And that immediately gets posted into the discussion, and then ultimately all the benefits of Stack Overflow still accrue, where you've got the voting mechanism, et cetera. So in summary, the Generative AI Stack Exchange and the NLP Topic Collective are live already. You can try those today, but you also now have the ability to try community discussions within NLP Topic Collective in a couple weeks, in August. So excited for you to try it. All right, so those are our 6 announcements. And sort of as I conclude here, I want to say that ultimately, in this first 15 years, you've trusted us about making sure that we always put you first as developers, that we make sure that we serve you, get you the right answer at the right time. In this era that we're about to enter into with AI at the heart of it, it is very much the focus for us. You will continue to be the focus. We will continue to make sure that you are kind of always in our conference rooms as we sort of build products to make sure that the developer and the community member is getting tremendous value out of what we're building. So we're all in it together, and we're here to make sure that we are serving you in this next phase. And so in summary, Overflow AI, search on the public platform, the Visual Studio Code plugin that I mentioned, the Slack integration now has generative AI capabilities, the enterprise knowledge ingestion using generative AI to create an instant knowledge base, enhanced search capabilities that allows you to pull together, again, with generative AI, multiple sources, and of course, public and private Stack Overflow content. And then finally, more spaces for you to have discussions about AI. All right, so where can you go and get access to all of this? You could go to stackoverflow.co/labs. You can go there and you can sign up and effectively show your interest. And then over the next couple of weeks, this gets released to all our developer community, and so you can try them out. And then ultimately, you can, of course, reach out to me anytime, either on LinkedIn or Twitter. We would love your feedback as we continue to sort of build these products for you. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks. Cheers.
All right, as said, there's a booth where you can ask questions, because there was a lot of questions coming on there. I think we can't cover them on stage. It will be more interesting to see what they can show you live on their booth. So here we're going to talk about clean code in 10 minutes, so a 10-minute break. Come back or don't leave your room, and I'll be back in a sec.